Yo, Shortbox Nation. Welcome to episode 232. I'm your host, Badr Milligan. I'm joined by Andrew Torres and Chris.
What's up?
This time I made sure to look in your eyes, weirdo.
Okay.
Chris Hohola is with us today. And we just got done watching the Dragon Ball Super movie, the Broly movie that just came out this week. I think it's in town for like 3 days. I was mistaken. I thought it was just one night, but I think it's here for a couple days. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this, man. If you haven't watched the movie, if you have any plans on watching the movie, or if you just can't make it this week, spoiler warnings. Do not play this episode until you've seen the movie, or if you just don't care about spoilers, go ahead and continue on. I'm going to go ahead and wait 3 seconds just in case. 3, 2, 1. We are now entering a spoiler zone. Let's talk about our expectations, man. Were you guys pretty hype about the news of the movie coming out? I know the news came out roughly, like last year towards the end of Super. What was everyone's thoughts on the initial, I guess, news? 'Cause I think, Drew, that was one of your like champions or...
Yeah, I was just really excited about it. Like when they had first announced everything was coming out, I was real stoked. I remember when they announced it was just like a couple of pages where it was just like all these new characters.
And all in Japanese, too.
I really wish they just would have said it's the only characters.
Yeah.
Because they show us 4 new characters, and that's like, all right, well, these are the only people that are going to be in this entire thing.
And I remember both of us kind of like chomping away for any news. Like, I think it was like some there was even like small ads that were coming out advertising this movie, and we were just trying to like decipher all of this. Chris, you're in an interesting spot because in the last year you've really gotten into Dragon Ball Z.
I have,
so much so starting from Dragon Ball.
Yep, Setch that out. Did you finish Dragon Ball Z?
I'm
right in the middle of it right now, actually.
So are you still continuing on?
Yeah, I'm still continuing on.
But you kind of went you kind of took a segue because you really got into the Dragon Ball card game.
Right.
So much so that you became a fucking referee.
This is true.
So, I mean, how's it been kind of immersing yourself into this fandom here?
I think it's been a lot of fun. The characters are awesome. The fights are awesome. Obviously, I play the card game. The card game is great. So the whole world of Dragon Ball is just... Since I've gotten into it, I just realized how much there is that comes with it. And
did you feel like the entire Dragon Ball Super season was spoiled for you because watching this movie?
No, I don't think it.
It's very far removed from the tournament power.
That's
they make mentions to it, but this is honestly, they do such a good job of establishing just the story that self-contained anybody can really go into this movie and just...
Right.
Drew's got a good point. I felt like this was a good standalone movie.
Absolutely. And it was, I was aware of what happened when it went back in time and it said, 80 some years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I knew what had happened because I had already gotten through the whole Frieza saga and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I was aware of that whole storyline and what happened. So, yeah, like you said, they mentioned the Tournament of Power. I'm aware of it, but I don't know what's happened in it yet.
I mean, all they kind of showed was pictures of the fighters and mainly Jiren, which I don't think that's a secret that he's the main, fighter in that, or the villain, whatever you want to call him. So what was I want to ask from thank you, much better word. Thank God I got Drew here. What was the I guess consensus or anticipation for the card game players? Because I imagine
did they do anything in coincide with the movie? Was there
there's a new Broly promo card that has been released. I think it was released last week or a week prior to that.
Okay. Do you have it?
So I actually do not have it.
Oh, you ain't a fan.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not.
Damn, nerd shaming him off the bat.
But yeah, I've had some friends that I played the card game with. They were pretty excited to see the movie. I think they saw it earlier today.
Okay, cool.
And they really enjoyed it. But
I was really surprised by the number of showings that was taking place. It felt like a majority of the theaters in there was showing this movie. So it's definitely cool to see that that appreciation, or at least just that awareness from these theaters to have more than one showing. Because sometimes you'll see some of these movies end up being super limited release, and you don't know what theater's showing them, what time they're showing them, how many days they're going to have them. But it was a solid turnout, man. It was really cool to be amongst other fans.
Seats.
No, not at all.
No, there wasn't.
And everyone showed up in their best Dragon Ball Z attire.
Oh my God.
That's so, Chris, we had actually, me and you went to go watch the first Broly, the original Broly movie in theaters because what was it, AMC Fandom did a special showing of it. So that was around, I think, October, November time frame. Drew, when did you first watch the Broly movie?
VHS.
Ooh, okay. So you got the stamp, the OG stamp.
VHS,
have you rewatched it since?
I tried to watch it a couple of months ago.
Okay. Unsuccessful.
I got
Tried.
a lot of rest. It was
Keyword.
very nice.
Keyword tried.
Yeah, I tried. Like I just fell asleep. To me, those movies kind of don't hold up. Like some of those Dragon Ball Z movies, like sometimes it just gets a little boring.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the movies, because like as a kid, you're like,
Yeah.
don't understand what's going on. You just see
Exactly.
Goku whipping on Ash. You can care less about what the dialogue
Yes.
is. As an
Yeah.
adult, I'm like, I'm going to try to pay attention, and it's just like,
I definitely know the nostalgic factor plays a big role. I mean, I said it on the car ride there. I don't watch Dragon Ball Z for a deep story or a lot of character development. I know what I'm going to get, and it's fun. It's like really fun stuff, and it's nostalgic. I mean, for me, it means a lot, so I'm okay with that. As far as the movie that we just watched, the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, what are some of your initial reactions? How did you guys feel leaving that movie?
Chris, I'm going to let you take this one.
I was actually pretty.
Well, I felt
I felt like I was. A part of me was like, I know this joke.
I
I was like,
should've-
nah,
yeah.
Drew's older.
I knew I should have known what I was walking into.
Yeah, you should have.
No, Chris, take it away. What was your initial reaction?
I was actually pretty excited about it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Did you just say Thor?
I did.
Well,
I said
good.
thoroughly.
Yeah, you did.
It's
you like
Thursday.
that?
It is Thursday.
Brawlily and
No, it's not Thursday. Oh, that joke.
I don't know if that was generally the consensus with people that I was with, you guys, but I really enjoyed it. I don't know a whole lot about Broly, obviously. I know that the original movie, that wasn't even canon, right? That's just a throwaway story.
No, all of those movies don't fall within the main Dragon Ball Z canon. But I was telling them that because there's 3 Broly movies, those were the only. Was there 3? Yeah, there was 3. Those are the only ones that tie in the movie universe. So this was their attempt at tying Broly into the main Dragon Ball Z canon.
Into this. Okay. All right. Yeah, I thought it was awesome. The animation was spot on. The fight scenes were just out of this world, in my opinion. I really enjoyed them. Okay. So it was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Chris. What about you, Drew?
I just loved all the underlying themes of global warming, absolute power, corrupts, not knowing your father,
The sins of the
just
father being
fact
passed
that
down.
there was a wall being made, and then you had to bring it down. Broly was that everything about it was pretty cool. I liked some of the. They added some layers. They retconned some stuff. Broly's not the villain. Like
No.
you just feel that's one of the things that you really, really feel bad about him, and that's what I liked about like these characters that they like the 2 characters that they added, just more or less like they were like Broly's keepers or conscience is basically like, hey, like the reason why he is the way he is because he can't control his power.
You bringing that up kind of, I agree. I think they kind of represent maybe the fan or the viewer where it's like, well, now Broly's not that bad, you
just assume Goku, whoever he's fighting, is the bad guy.
something like that. Okay. For me, I think the first half was really, really incredible, and it's always fun to be in a movie theater where everyone loves the franchise and everyone can kind of just get into it. Because I mean, if you guys noticed, a lot of people were like just kind of getting hype, and they were okay kind of expressing their emotion and their hypeness, and even just some of the stuff you heard being yelled at. That was kind of cool. I think it adds to watching a movie.
Definitely.
So I was invested all the way in the first half, and I think I even said out loud a couple times like this might be the best Dragon Ball Z movie, but somewhere along the lines in the middle towards the last parts, it kind of lost me a little bit. It was like almost too much,
Too cheesy.
Yeah,
Too cheesy how? What do you mean? As far as like the one-liners and all that kind of
not
stuff?
Not cheesy. Okay.
Just the progression of character.
Well, it's more so just how dramatic everything kind of got. And I can pinpoint where I was like, oof, whoa, this kind of took me out of it. I was like really invested. I felt like a kid watching Dragon Ball Z again. But when Frieza ends up killing his dad, I just felt like there was so much potential lost in killing his dad because this retelling of his father, I don't know, it added more to the story. It kind of, in the words of Lars, it enriched the story for me. Like there was an actual, like really kind of well-developed story in the beginning. We got to see more about the Saiyans, like civilization and their society, because all we know about it, from Dragon Ball Z is that they're just a warrior race. There's not much more to them. But this one kind of painted like, all right, here's the Saiyans, here's their civilization, like here's their situation with Frieza and how kind of crappy it is. So it was like really building a lot of empathy for these characters that we never really had empathy for. And that goes for Broly too. Like I was feeling really down for him, man. Like this was
they did it. Sorry, when they established when they first come in, and just the fact that he's not royalty. Like I love the fact that they just kept putting labels on him.
Yeah, and it was a good blend of like the original Broly origin, where it's like your son's too powerful. We got to get rid of him. And his dad fighting for him. In the original movie, his dad ends up, they leave Brawley for dead and his father for dead, and then they find their own way.
Right.
But this was him like going after his son. This was like all three of these dads. It was about them, just that love for your son and what you would do for them. I was like encapsulated. I was like, man, this is a really different Dragon Ball Z movie.
Yeah, I really did like that part. I liked him going after his son. I also liked seeing Bardock.
Yep.
And Ginny.
They introduced his mom.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then just how he felt about his son and sending him to Earth and everything.
Yeah.
That was. There was a lot to that.
The different perspective. You had King Vegeta looking at his son like with pride, like just like a sense of no pun intended, but like a sense of royalty. Like, this is my son. Like, he should be.
He's gonna fuck. Some
Yeah,
shit
exactly.
up.
And then you had, like you said, or Bardock. He was like, man, just that sense of like, I got to take care of my kid.
Right.
Like, I'll put myself at risk to take care of my kid. And then, what's the name of Brawley's father? Pegasus?
No, I keep thinking it's Pegasus, but it's not Pegasus. It's something else. But it is
or something. I don't know.
Okay, I'll have to look it up.
Pegasus or
Pegasus. I think it was
something
Pegasus.
like that.
Nick Shield.
Can someone, Chris, you mind looking that up?
Yeah, I'll look it
up. But thank you, sir. What did you guys think about Drew? What was your kind of thoughts on that first part? It was like the whole reintroducing Frieza into the scene and like establishing those saying that Paragus. Thank you.
Frieza.
Yeah.
I mean, it was okay. I thought it was cool. Like, it was just the. Ugh, dang, blanking over here.
Okay. Do you mind if I chime in?
Yeah, go ahead with because Frieza's more like your character. The only thing I liked with Frieza was just the fight scenes was pretty dope, and then actually the whole reason behind the Dragon Balls. Like, I love how the fact that to me that was the cool fact that like
it's that comedic aspect of Dragon Ball Z that you don't mind.
Oh, but another thing is they did a really good job of making it to where Frieza doesn't want to live forever.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because I like how they express how like death is
it's pointless, or he'd get bored or something like that.
Yeah, pointless if you basically.
And even when his henchman is like, well, what about just being undefeated, or you can't take any damage? He's like, well, where's the fun in that?
Right.
I did appreciate in the beginning how they paid homage to the the other kind of tied in movies, like the Bardock story. They still showed the scene where he's trying to defend planet Vegeta against Frieza. He ends up dying. So it's still like, okay, you can still have your Bardock movies and like that Bardock short. They paid homage to like the legend of the Super Saiyan. They just did a lot of things where it was like, hey, we're going to pay respect to everything that built up this and still find a creative way of introducing this fan favorite. I mean, I don't think it. I'm sure that if you being at all these tournaments, you can kind of back it up. But Brawley is just, once again, no pun intended, but a force of like nature.
Yeah.
When it comes with like fandom,
Absolutely.
People love Brawley.
So like, because remember we were talking about the dichotomy between. So, like, Vegeta is basically the result of hard work.
Mm-hmm.
Goku is the result of just
Natural talent.
and
Yeah.
then to Brawley's just raw talent.
It's like a combination. It's like a combination. I made that joke. It was like we were watching. Have you seen Creed 2 yet?
No, not yet.
It's the story of Brawley and his dad resembles so much of Creed 2 with Ivan Drago.
You know who's in Creed 2?
I haven't seen
Justin
it.
Timberlake has seen Creed 2.
I mean, we're not. I'm not
You've
gonna.
seen Justin Timberlake.
I've seen Justin Timberlake, but that doesn't mean that I've seen Creed
That's
2
a weird,
yet.
like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon right there. Like, that's a weird. But it's very similar. Where it's like Ivan Drago is a just man out of kind of fallen from the grace of the eye of his country, and he's having to raise his son in very harsh conditions. And those harsh conditions is what makes Brawley so strong. So I think Brawley's more a representation of like nature
versus nurture.
nature kind of versus nurture.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a fan of that. Let's kind of fast forward with kind of the altercation between Brawley and the Z fighters, Goku and Vegeta. I mean, how'd that do it for you guys?
It was okay. Some of it, I just didn't know if it was animation or the video game.
Yeah, Corey actually just sent me a message, and he was like 7 different animated styles in this movie.
Is it really?
Probably not 7, but it is.
You can
was
tell
a lot.
there are a number of them. Yeah.
Like I said, that first half, especially the initial fight between Brawly and Vegeta, that artwork and animation was blowing me away. It just was
the
something
first-person
about it
view.
was.
oh yeah, the
that-
first person
oh my
view was
God.
awesome.
See, and that's it, man. This movie, like I said, I was like, they are doing things. They are pushing it. Like first person view. Like what the hell? That is dope. Like Goku's different fighting style. I was like, oh man, he's using like Taekwondo.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah,
He's using like whatever that ability is, whatever he did to like kind of freeze Brawly in space.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it kind of spoke to Goku being this like sage when it comes to fighting. Like that's when he's his most intellectual.
Well, that's the thing I liked about it too is when he realized he's like, hey man, listen. He's like,
Yeah.
we're fighting.
Yeah.
Hey, it's like when you play with your brother.
Yeah,
you're
hey,
like,
too hard,
I
too
hit
hard.
and he hits you in the face. You're like, oh, I'm getting one in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the fight scenes were well done. It's what you expect out of Dragon Ball Z. You know, they were destroying mountains, like you said, they were causing global warming, and it was
They fought in another dimension.
that threw me off.
They
That was
punched through
crazy.
reality.
That's what it seemed like.
That's what it was. They fought, like they opened up their own black hole, decided to fight, fucked up whatever the fuck that
and they
was,
just
and then
left,
came
yeah.
back.
But it was stuff like that was so jarring to me that I was like, whoa, what the hell is going on? Like that, and then Frieza killing his father. Just some of those moments were like, what the hell is going on? But Chris, how'd the fight scenes do it
For me,
you?
that having the different kinds of animations, that really just
Kinda kept
impressed
on your
me.
toes,
It
huh?
kept me on my toes. I really enjoyed seeing all those different animations and seeing the fights choreographed that way. It was. I guess it's just because what I've seen so far of Dragon Ball, it just blows it out of the water from what I've seen because this stuff is so old
That's
that
a
I've
good
seen.
point.
But this new stuff is just. Like,
I think
I would literally go see that movie again just to watch those fight scenes. I mean,
damn, that might be a good a point to note is that me and Drew have just recently watched Super within the last year. So a lot of that fighting style and that animation style is really prevalent in that series. But you're watching much older series where they don't kind of break down or slow down
right.
the action. It's very fast paced, and that was one thing I enjoyed about this movie was just them kind of like slowing it down, where you can see like their unique fighting styles. Like Goku is like very like disciplined, like a martial artist, and Vegeta was just a powerhouse,
Yeah.
man. Let's talk about some of these new characters introduced, because I thought the two, and I don't have their names on me right now, but the two, I guess, helpers or the two individuals or the soldiers that found Brawly, I thought they kind of caught my attention. I really enjoyed like their characters. Drew, what you think about them?
I liked them too. It's one of those. Frieza has an army, and not everybody in that army is a bad guy.
Yeah,
If you just realize that Frieza just has like the biggest gang, and you either serve or you die, and it's just some of them that don't agree with it. So when those two came and they're talking and stuff, like immediately, if I see anybody wearing that Frieza's uniform, I'm like, oh, you're a piece of shit. You deserve to die. But for whatever reason, when those two came and then like, they're not threatening. They have like no power level, so they're just.
and they have their own like unique motives too. Like the girl was just like, this is the only way as a woman I can kind of like not. Chris, you got the name?
Is it Beats and Chile? Are those the two? No. That can't be.
I think that's like the American translation. But to Drew's point, I thought that they both had like unique stories. The old guy was just like, hey, I'm not a fighter. I'm just, I joined and I've just kind of like stayed low key or whatnot. Drew, do you feel like there was a, do you think there was a sci-fi kind of element to it? Lars was saying that this kind of felt like an 80s sci-fi. Like, did that kind of trigger?
Oh man, like I don't know. The only reason why is because of the
Limo and Chile. Yeah, you're right.
just
Chile.
the spaceship. Just
Thank
the
you, Chris.
spaceship. Like I didn't get no sci-fi out of it.
Okay. I say sci-fi because we don't really. That was kind of a cool premise where it's like Frieza's trying to build his space force, so these recruits are going out to find other individuals. Which the whole time I'm like, so you guys know Frieza's up to no good, and you're just kind of like letting him like do his own thing. Okay, word.
Probably got dental. I'm just telling you right now, like, listen, hey, check this out. You want to join my crew? What does it come with? Well, you get your own spaceship. All right.
I'm in. Yeah.
And then what else? What kind of dental? All right. There's these little ponds that you get to like just chill in, and you'll be all right. Oh, okay, cool.
Chris, you had mentioned like some of the comedy. Do you want to kind of go in more depth how the comedy did it for you in the movie?
I just thought I mean,
was it as silly as the first Brawley movie? Because I always thought the first Brawley movie is actually pretty hilarious.
I think it's probably just as silly. I mean, there's just those one-liners that I mean, doing the whole fusion dance thing with Vegeta, that was pretty funny. Some of the one-liners that Goku would say, all that kind of stuff. It's still similar to the comedy that's in the older stuff as well. So,
and when I bring that up, I think about how in the original Brawley movie, the reason Brawley hated Kakarot so much was because he cried so much as a baby, which is pretty funny in hindsight and such a weird, twisted angle for a villain, or whatnot. But then they brought it full circle with the comedy where it's Frieza. His wish is to grow fucking taller, and then Bulma's wish is just to be like look younger.
Okay, yeah.
I thought that was pretty
He's
good.
like 5 inches.
He's like 5 centimeters.
5
centimeters.
He's like, why don't you just revert back to your second form? He's like, no, because you idiot. Like, I'm not going back to my second form. He's want to be my
I
prime.
want to be taller in my base form.
5 inches.
Why not more than 5 centimeters?
So
Because then it would be too noticeable.
I'm sure you guys and the listeners are aware that Gogeta is another one of those characters that I feel like the fandom of Dragon Ball Z is definitely behind this character, despite not having much material to work with, even less material than Brawley. I mean, Brawley, you had 3 whole movies where he was the prime antagonist. Gogeta only showed up in one, I think it was like movie 12. It was with Johnny Ba, and they were in hell, and that was the first time they did the fusion dance. But he literally only shows up towards the end, much like this, but had less screen time. Like, he defeats the Johnny Ba so easily. It's kind of laughable. I mean, Chris, did you have... I'm sure that... Did you know that Gogeta was going to show up in this movie?
I did. Well, based off of the flyer.
You're talking
that we
about that
got
fucking piece of trash they gave him?
Yeah, I don't know why they
they
gave me a flyer, but okay.
It's like, here's the movie you're going to go see.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of the character. I mean, I knew who the character was, but I didn't realize that he didn't have that much screen time prior to this. So this is the most screen time he's had? Mm-hmm. Okay, so... Yeah,
it really... I mean, I think that was a big selling point. Other than Brawley being tied into the main canon, it was also like... Because I think they were already advertising Gogeta is coming. It's coming back. Mm-hmm. I mean, in the card game, I mean, is Gogeta a big deal in the card game?
Yeah, he does have some cards. I think there's actually a leader card for him as well now. So he's starting to make an appearance as well in the card game.
Okay, cool. Drew, what about you, man? I mean, what's your deal with Gogeta? Are you a fan? I mean, how do you do it for you in the movie?
Gogeta's dope. I like Gogeta. Out of Vegito and Gogeta, one of the oldest debated things is who's more powerful, Gogeta or Vegito. That's one of the things that I remember in middle school, what we would argue about.
Did you ever watch the movie of Gogeta?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember, like, when he first appeared, like, he was just, like, he just comes in, fucks shit up, and then goes right back
leaves,
to it.
Like,
and,
straight up leaves, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, and then it's always, like, Vegeta, like, let's never do that again. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was okay. Like, seeing him, it was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. It was cool seeing him, but I wasn't, like, just enamored or grabbed by it. It was more like I told you, that beginning part what you were saying with Vegeta and Brawley fighting and all that stuff. I thought it was pretty... I wanted Brawley, like, I wanted Brawley to talk a little bit more. Like, I guess I missed that whole aspect.
He's just more animalistic, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's what I don't like about him, because it's not really, like...
And to Drew's point, I think that's why the sudden death of his father threw me for such a loop, because I felt like we could have got more emotion out of Brawley. Because some of the, in my opinion, some of the best scenes in that, besides the Vegeta fight, you cookie eat.
What?
I feel like Drew just suddenly became a fucking squirrel and pulled a goddamn cookie out of his
I pulled
jacket.
out 2 cookies.
I won't even lie. I kind of want one, but
all they needed to do was basically just show. This is how they do it. Frieza, spoiler, kills a dad.
Yeah.
All you have to do is just show Brawley. Give me a bunch of flashback scenes where it shows his dad.
Okay, I would have settled for that
as a very okay. I know,
hard but caring.
Maybe like one of the things that he can do is because like even though he had that button thing, they easily could have done the first time he puts it on him.
Yeah.
Like explored that whole.
That's true.
The first time he had to put it on them, and it killed him every time he had to with the thing. He's like, listen, like sometimes you're gonna lose control, and I can't control you. And this button, and then just make that about the button. I think they could have done that a little bit more.
Yeah, I didn't get that from his dad at all. I mean,
his dad was a piece of shit.
Yeah, his dad was a piece of shit.
But I mean, he wasn't always like
the beginning of the movie. Sure,
Exactly.
it was like, I want to
like
go there with my son.
Transformation was like so sudden, and it's like damn, man, like.
And then
Well, 'cause he's
revenge
talking
just
about-
took over, and that's all he gave. That's all he gave a shit
and,
about.
and the only flashback scene we got was him killing, or not killing, but
shooting the
his-
ear
his
off
pet-
of his pet or his best friend.
And it's like, no, there's got to be more. They spent way too much time on that place for him to just suddenly like switch.
I realize now exactly what you're saying because the entire
Thank you.
this entire beginning of the movie, he basically turns on his race,
Yep.
becomes
on his king, yep.
his deserter. I don't know where his wife was.
You know, for the
Where's
most
the
part,
baby
I was
mama?
like, how do Saiyans make babies? Because there was that weird, the only
You take
female
the
Saiyan
tail
that had
to the-
tails.
The tail.
The only-
They connect the
Got
tails
it.
like
It has to
Avatar
be a
style.
male.
Great. Because the only
then
female
they
Saiyan that we
power up.
got at the beginning was that weird Russian scientist Saiyan. I was like, oh, damn, they got Russian scientists. But not true.
How do they get the baby into the pod? I mean, they have a baby first,
So what happens?
or is the baby born
I
in the
think that's
pod?
kind of their nursery ward. I think that's the equivalent. But to Drew's point, that's what I wanted was, like, his dad dies, and then all of a sudden we still get classic Broly.
Yeah,
which
in the first you love his dad, like you said, like in the beginning
Well,
you
I
love
love
the
Broly.
dad.
I
you
like
love
the
Broly
dynamic.
and
I love the
dad.
dynamic.
And then because he was just murking people left and right for his kid, and then the thing he goes, meh.
I mean, I guess it does speak to Frieza just being like the biggest fucking asshole in the world.
It does.
I mean, that is his character, and you know,
Listen, me and you are the bestest of friend. Let's get trapped on an island for 10 years. We'll see how we figure it out. I'm just like, you guys don't even talk anymore. Well,
I would feel remiss, especially with Vegeta being one of my favorite characters, if I didn't highlight that we got to see Vegeta going Super Saiyan God mode, and for Chris, that impact might not have as much impact for you.
Not
because,
yet, but it's still pretty
Yeah.
awesome to see.
Well, this isn't really a spoiler, but in Super, he doesn't go Super Saiyan God. He doesn't reach that.
Oh, so he
red
doesn't
form,
reach that form.
the red form at all. I think in the no, he does.
in the manga he does.
In the manga, he does, and Drew caught that. But it's only like for 2 panels or some shit.
It's crazy how they do it. In the manga, he reaches God level.
Yeah.
And what's so crazy about that is because he reaches God level without that, without the other Saiyans. To reach God level is the Saiyans have to do this special pact or whatever,
like spiritual, like
a spiritual thing and an offering.
processes.
And so Vegeta never had time to
Yeah.
do it, so he had to learn how to go
Just
God
by,
mode.
like, sheer
God mode on his
fucking
own.
will.
Just by looking at Kakarot, he was
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, that's what I'm gonna get."
Yeah. So this was kind of cool to see him and I think that the theater got a little hype when that happened because it's like, yes, we finally get some, Vegeta kind of getting this retribution. I do want to highlight a pretty cool concept for Broly. I don't want anyone thinking I'm shitting on it because I love Broly, but it was really dope to see, like, to have them play on that whole. Saiyans end up getting stronger and better at fighting with every battle.
Right.
But it was like he's only been on this planet with his father, and there's only so much his father could show him. And then I think it just spoke to what you were saying with, like, raw talent. Broly is so fucking amazing.
He can adapt so quickly.
He can adapt right there on the spot. I thought that was dope. And I think in the original movie, he was doing that too.
Yeah,
that
I
was
think he was doing that
That was a cool nod back to that.
Well, yeah, and they were doing the same thing with Kefla.
Yeah.
When in Dragon Ball, that's something too. They didn't really touch a lot on Broly, but when Dragon Ball Super happens, you'll meet these two characters that are supposed to be remnants of
like pay homage to
they
him.
pay homage to Broly.
Okay.
It's like Vegeta, Goku, and then Broly. And then their Broly thing is like honestly one of these like raw power type power level.
And with you saying that right now, Goku, Vegeta, and Broly, it is kind of cool that they're the Mount Rushmores of Super Saiyans. It's like in such unique backgrounds and stories. I kind of want to see more develop if they do decide to incorporate Broly into the whatever series they got going forward.
Well, I like the fact that he's basically shed his monkey lair. That's why he's so powerful. That's the thing.
So
that I
he
like
can
about
take
it.
on monkey form without actually being monkey and be as strong as.
Yeah.
And that's what he says. That's
And I
what he said because when he removed his tail, he still broke through that barrier.
Right.
He didn't need the tail.
Yeah. Did he have the tail when he took off his? No, he actually kept that
his
damn
dad-
thing on the whole time.
No, but
he
his
kept the ear on
his
the
dad
whole
took his tail.
I
His
thought
dad
his dad.
took his
I thought his
tail.
dad might have been lying because he was real hesitant about him taking off.
No,
his
that's
dad
what he's
took the
telling.
tail.
Well, I mean, you don't tell everybody that the power's in the tail.
Fair.
You just tell somebody like, "What happened to his tail?"
Yeah, I got you.
I'm not gonna lie. I was a little disappointed though. I thought when Piccolo started talking to Goku, I was like,
Look.
all right, if Piccolo's coming into this fight, this is gonna be pretty sweet.
Do you know what Piccolo essentially did this whole movie? he did what everyone on Facebook likes to do. I'm gonna send you my thoughts and prayers.
I'm gonna like this. I'm gonna like this fight.
Piccolo said, "Hey, look, man, I'd come if I could, but you know,
I might get in the way."
And let me highlight Goku for a minute because this was probably the most thoughtful or
non-asshole Goku ever.
Well, this was the most strategic Goku I've seen, where he's like, "Hey, Piccolo, I want you to stand by just in case we need you, because if I can't get a handle of this, I'm gonna retreat," which I thought was an interesting concept because we don't hear Goku wanting to run away from a fight. Like he'd rather die than lose or whatnot. But this was like Goku, like even admitting, like, yeah, this motherfucker's like way too strong. Piccolo, I will need your thoughts and prayers later.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yo, they left Frieza alone for an hour and a half.
They did, because there's 3 different transformations, right?
It was a half hour. It took a half hour. Well, I don't know how time works over in Dragon Ball Z.
Well, I could have sworn Vegeta might have been taking like the longest like bathroom break because I was like, where is he at?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
A lot of shit is going on right now.
I bet you he was just basically just like with Bulma, like, man, look at this dude right here. Just like I would have shot him right here. That's what I would have done.
It's all the things he's doing wrong.
If Super, in my opinion, did a good job of trying to expand, I felt like Dragon Ball Super did a good job of trying to expand the story type of the franchise, because Dragon Ball Z, it was kind of centered around a lot of tournaments, or just being, I guess the overarching theme of Dragon Ball period is just being the world's strongest, but it was always like centered around tournaments, and like the next fighter was always like the next big baddie. And then Super came along and we got a little more complex stories like time travel, alternate, universes and stuff. I felt like this one was more of like that sci-fi theme, and I say that because of how much they played into the beginning with the whole Saiyan race, the arms deal. It was like a lot of themes they were trying to pack and stuff.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about themes and whatnot, I thought even King Cold, Frieza's father.
I was gonna say that was kind of cool that I got to see that.
Yeah, and it was like kind of cool from that angle too, where it was like, that other dad perspective of like, hey.
This is my son. He's kind of an asshole.
He's kind of an asshole.
He is kind of an asshole.
I'm officially retiring as of right now. Good luck.
It's okay. I'm giving my little boy the biz.
How badass. All right, now some things are coming back, so please bear with us, listeners. How badass was that opening scene where Frieda's
where he takes them all out?
Where he's like, I brought you guys some scatters, and let me show you how they work. There's 5 snipers, and he fucking takes them out. And to your point about the first person view, that was cool to see like the laser coming at it and whatnot. That was really dope. So let me ask you guys, what was maybe what scene stood out the most, like that you guys will probably still be thinking about after we're done recording? And then maybe give me something that you felt that could have been worked on, because it might have been a lacking scene.
Oh man, I'm gonna sound like such a pervert.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure.
Because the funniest scene is like, well, because it was like so like what the fuck is the first scene where Brawley gets his suit, and the girl's just like, she's like, how's your suit fit?
Yeah, she was
then she's like, fits my boobs just nice. I'm like, oh, that's weird.
Oh, and don't glance over the 3 like ash, or the 2 or 3 ash shots.
Oh, there was
scenes.
like 5 or 6.
I was like, why are we lingering?
It was
she
just right there
over
too.
a lot, and I was like, all right, this is weird. Like,
yeah, just
okay, slutty Bulma. So that one was good. Brawley reminded me of just like man, I was like, Hulk needs to like be able to fly. So that was cool. I love the Brawley versus Golden Frieza. Like,
it wasn't really much of a fight.
Oh, I thought it was.
And Frieza was
and
getting
with you
worked.
bringing up, work is like an understatement. With you bringing up Hulk, it reminded me of that scene in Avengers where Hulk is smashing Loki back and forth.
He did that to Goku. He did it to Vegeta. Like Goku, the looks on Goku's faces when he's just like, fucked up.
I was telling my brother Joe that this is when you know a villain is like really OP and it's just not for the shits and giggles. When Goku starts yelling like that, and they close up and they close up on his face
all the way to his tonsils. Oh my god! Close up of his tonsils.
Yeah, it's like first person. This is what it's like when he's like, what the hell? Yeah, I hope I never get bodied by a dude.
Oh no, that looks painful.
Look, the one joke. The joke is like, I should have looked over at Badr when Brawley was beating the shit out of Goku. And like, stop! He's already dead.
Because he was. Wasn't there a scene where like I think Goku was coming at him with like his fist or energy ball, and like Broly just straight up like crushes the power ball and his fist at the same time.
Yeah, that was
and
ridiculous.
then begins to wail on
I
him.
need Tori Baker just to do the entire Dragon Ball Z voiceovers for me. That's what I need. Tori Baker.
I can't. I'll be straight up. I cannot stand Frieza's voice. I really miss.
I couldn't stand Frieza's voice either.
But Joe told me that I guess the original voice actor passed away.
Okay.
So that's
is that what it is?
Yeah. So that's definitely sad.
Isn't that
loss,
There was a new Bulma voice actress too, wasn't there?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these voices have changed since.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris? Favorite scene, and maybe one that you feel could have been worked on?
Well, there's a couple actually. One that really made me like connect with Broly is that scene where they did a flashback where he was talking about his best friend or his and that whole it was kind of like a giant dog basically, and you just see him sitting there with him and you know that's like his only friend. And his dad comes along, shoots the thing's ear off. So I like that.
He didn't even kill it. Just like
no, just reminded him.
Just shot its ear off.
like.
Yeah, maybe you guys are right. Maybe that dad was a fucking piece of shit. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude, it seemed like. I mean, it seemed like he
I'm
was.
saying he's stuck on an island. You're eating the same shit for years and
Yeah, I'm
years.
sure temperatures are rising. We are, Chris.
And then another scene is I think it was when Gogeta, he had just smacked Broly down and he did an energy beam that like it changed animation and it just like was this giant freaking like beam that was like 100 beams all at once just come around in a spherical way down all the way down to Broly, and I was like, oh my god, that's freaking badass.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, so that was really sweet. Something that needed work.
Lava.
Yeah, lava apparently is. That was Saiyans are immune to lava.
Dude, that was pretty crazy. Just water.
And the person that they argue, he's in Super Saiyan Blue more, so right there, it's just not going to burn him. I'm like, what the fuck?
I think maybe they have like a protective aura or some shit. It was definitely like jarring. Like that's the thing about.
But I'm not a Saiyan, so I don't know what their DNA is.
Sure,
Like maybe they can bathe in lava.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get why they do it. The intent there is there. I mean, it's to show how epic this fight is and how intense it's going to be. And I feel like that's why they use so many different animation styles. And for me, it worked. I mean, that helped to show how powerful these Saiyans are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely, I did enjoy that part.
Fair. Okay. Cool. Real quick, when Frieza first arrives to Earth and he whatever destroys the clouds or some shit.
Oh yeah,
he says
his little energy ball,
and then it disperses the clouds. And Goku's like, "Well, Frieza always has a show when he always likes to make an entrance." It reminded me of like that Game of Thrones scene where she shows up with the dragons and shit.
Oh yeah,
it was just like a wild entrance.
Yeah.
But so yes, I think I've kind of said my favorite scenes were like that initial beginning, kind of giving us a different take on Broly, the empathetic feel. And you know the scene that could have worked, man. Like I said, there was so much potential. I feel that we could have went in resolving the fight, because my issue with Super is that sometimes you get such epic fight scenes and so much you exceed like these kind of limits, and you kind of get rid of the risk that you paint yourself into a corner. It's like, okay, how do we wrap this up? I think Super did a good job of wrapping it up with that last episode, and this one with the Dragon Ball and wishing him back to his home, that was okay. But I guess a part of me is like, well, shit, this kind of speaks to Broly's character. Is like, I don't think we'll ever. Maybe this movie wasn't meant to answer this, but
this is the English version. This is the English version.
Well, none of that bothered me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know if you know this, but like when they change movies, sometimes they change dialogue, they change the type of way that people talk, voices.
Yeah, but would it drastically change how it ended?
Yeah, you don't know, because here's the thing:
is it a completely different ending?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But here's the thing: it's not what you say; it's how you say it. So a lot of these actors they're moving mouses and they're writing this script. So like, say for whatever reason, the dad and all these scenes, like the dad's talking so much shit, but what if they change it, and instead of his dialogue, it's very much like, Frieza, please don't make my son do this. Like, he's not and you find out like the whole Japanese movie is maybe the father is very much against Frieza exploding his boy, and that's why he kills him.
I'll say that could be a possibility.
That is a possibility.
Change.
Yeah, it would be one hell of a change.
That's what sometimes what they do. They'll change. They'll change slight things. Storylines change when it comes to English versus Japanese, and we already know it for censorship.
So, and I mean, it could be. I'd have to see what's going to come out in the DVD.
I'm going to call it Kuratori.
Okay, go ahead, please. But when they send him back to his planet, it felt like we went backwards. It was like, damn, we couldn't wrap up the Brawley story. We just had to.
Here we are to the very beginning.
It was like,
again,
okay,
basically.
well now, and I felt it was kind of meta, where it's like, okay, fans, I hope you guys understand. This is why we can't include Brawley in the series. He's just too powerful. He's uncontrollable. So I hope you're happy with what you got. But I don't know. I just, like I said, I felt like there was potential there to kind of give us more emotion and maybe resolve it without this, without going backwards. But
I hope that I don't know. I guess what I got from it at the end there was we're going to see more of Brawley.
For sure.
I mean, Goku's going to become start.
Hey, let me ask you guys this: did it feel at the end that some of the way they talked in this movie was like they were telling a lot? They were trying to like tell you the whole history of Dragon Ball Z and like some of the basics and stuff. Especially when Goku shows up and he's like kind of giving them the whole spiel about the capsules and who he is and what they do.
They're not going to know anything.
I guess it's like, and I talked to Ryan afterwards, and he kind of had a point. Like, well, this movie might have been aimed towards like a new fan.
Oh, I definitely think that it's definitely. It's aimed to both, but I do see.
You just make more movies for you, Badr. Make it for everybody.
I know. I was like, I need to get out of this gatekeeping, nerd mode. But
yeah, it's definitely newbie friendly. I mean, it definitely helps to explain what's going on so that you can be more comfortable with it.
And once again, I guess I got to get out of that mindset of I need to be able to share with new fans. Just sometimes when I see that, it feels like they're talking down to me.
I get that,
and it's like, why are we wasting valuable time rehashing essentials that we already know? But that's here nor there. I'm going to ask Drew specifically, based on the movies that you've seen, how does this kind of rank up there with you? Does this kind of rank high or mid?
No, this
low?
one was definitely high. All the other ones and stuff, like as a kid, like I'm saying right now, you ask me as a kid, you can tell me shit. These are the best movies ever. But like as older, notice I didn't say adult.
Okay.
I couldn't enjoy these movies because I would fall asleep. I'd try to watch all these movies and fall asleep. But this movie was really good. Did what it needed to do. I thought it was a good addition. But I mean, I've seen I can probably watch this movie twice.
Would you watch it again?
I will watch it again, but in Japanese, and then I don't have to ever watch it ever again.
Fair enough. What about you, Chris? How does this fare? And I know that you haven't seen. Have you seen?
I haven't seen any other movies except for the other Brawley movies, so I can only compare it to that.
Okay.
But
well, then how does it compare to the first Brawley movie?
This one, in my opinion, it pulls it out of the water.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. I mean, obviously, for me, it's the best Dragon Ball movie that I've seen. But
fair enough.
I'll see the rest of them and see from there.
Well, does it get you excited for more knowing that you're going to be going to Super?
Oh yeah, it gets me really excited. The animation, the fights, just the characters themselves. Like, I don't know much about Beerus, but I just like him based off of of Whis and Beerus. Like, I know him based off of the card games and the stuff they do in the card games.
When you get a cat, he's going to get a new cat. It's going to be Beerus.
Oh, absolutely.
That's cool.
I'm like, God dang, Chris, you got like 30 cats. Well, who's this? That's Goku. That's Piccolo. That's Goten. That's Trunks. That's Future Trunks. That's Frieza. That's Frieza 1. That's Golden Frieza.
So he's a crazy cat guy. Damn, I haven't heard of that in a while. Yeah. This movie definitely ranks high up there for me. And I think it's just because of what it means to the franchise. Like I said, I kind of listed some of my issues with it, but if we're looking at it from a franchise perspective, I mean, this was their attempt at bringing Brawley into the to the canon. So that shows me that they're listening to the fans. They know they're in tune with what the fans want. They brought in Gogeta, so I'm excited to see if they continue to bring more movie elements into the main canon. And, where they go from here. Because now, this was a good kind of filler to hold us off into the next series. So I want to know if they learn from what this movie, some of the critique and whatever it makes. And I'm also curious, what's it made financially? Because I know it came out in Japan maybe a month or so. And I think it made a lot. But I definitely hold this movie in high regards. It could have been worked on. But a lot of the things they could have worked on, I feel like that just comes with the franchise. You just gotta accept that this is Dragon Ball Z, and for the most part, they're going to kind of solve things with their fist, and it's going to be all about these kind of big action scenes. So I was happy with it. I would go see it again.
Absolutely, I would definitely go see it again.
And it's so cool to watch shit like this with fans, man. I definitely got to emphasize like the movie experience because it was so fun to like be in a theater with that much energy.
Oh yeah. It's always the movie experience is so much better when you have a bunch of people that are thoroughly enjoying the movie. So
for sure. Any last statements, Drew? You got anything to say about the movie? Wrapping up.
Not just have fun. Go see. I'm coming off a new Naruto. Like I'm Naruto Shippuden. Like when's that movie coming out?
Fair enough. What about you, Chris? Closing.
I definitely recommend it. I'm looking forward to getting into Super, and I'm curious now. It would be pretty sweet to see like Broly and Goku fusion there. Broku would be.
Oh
pretty
my
sweet.
god, Broku, bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Cool.
That's good, Chris. And I'll just kind of reiterate what they say. This is definitely worth checking out if you are a fan of the franchise. I feel like this kind of like required watching. It's fun, and take my critique and any of ours with a grain of salt. Make your own. And I know Corey, Ann, and Ryan are listening, and I want to hear from you guys, man. What did you guys think about the movie? And I'll open that up to anyone listening, to any of our listeners. If you have an opinion or a review that you'd like to share after watching this movie, send them in, theshortboxjacks@gmail.com. And we're going to go and wrap up. It's rather late, and it's a school night. So we got work in the morning. So I'll go ahead and say this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If it's your first time tuning in, please subscribe to the show. Follow us on social media. And let us know what you think, all right?
Yo, what happened to peace? Peace.